Today's video is sponsored by Picker's Grip. Stop dropped picks and pick rotation while playing with Picker's Grip. Made with all natural ingredients in Virginia. Check out their website to order. When you support my sponsor, this also supports my channel, and it's very much appreciated. Now, through March 31st, 2021, enter promo code Robert20 and save 20% off your entire order site-wide. Why do they call them buildings when they're already finished? Shouldn't they be called builts? It's finished, it's built. It's not building anymore. It's built. Hey, I'm Robert. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me here today in my home studio. You guys have been asking me for this video for quite some time. Honestly, I have resisted making this video because, my biggest concern is this is going to lead to more requests for pickup demos, which I hate doing because they're a huge pain in the ass. So, that said, one thing I actually really do enjoy within the guitar gear arena are guitar pickups. And, a new set of pickups can change a guitar, the entire sound and, really the guitar's entire personality altogether. Again, just by swapping out the pickups themselves. The pickups essentially are the engine of the guitar. This was a very difficult list to make because there are so many different pickups out there, and there's more and more pickup companies that are popping up every day, almost like pedal companies, and it's getting really hard to keep up with. So if you're wondering why there is 17 on this list, is because that is as far down as I was willing to narrow it. For the criteria for this list, I wanted to make sure and include pickups that are still readily available on the market today and can be sold as aftermarket parts. There are a lot of pickups out there from companies that Gibson, for example, have some models that they will you can only get them if you buy the guitar that they put them in. So those pickups, things like that, I eliminated from this list. These are things that you can order individually by yourself from most major retailers and dealers of these specific brands. So without further ado, let's get to it. Number 17, the Gretch Filtertron. These are Gretch's primary humbucker that came out in the late 1950s. They get their name because they filter out the electronic hum that is created from single-coil pickups. Obviously, these are humbuckers. While Gretch are not responsible for inventing the humbucker, that was Seth Lover working for Gibson in 1957. Or at least that's the year they came out. Gretch put their own twist on the same technology, and they have been putting the Filtertron pickups in their guitars for years. Vintage Filtertron pickups go for big bucks on the vintage market. Number 16, the Seymour Duncan Full Shred. I put this one on here because it's a personal favorite of mine. This is one of those pickups. It's actually not a really high output pickup despite the name, but it's a fairly moderate output pickup, but it sounds like a high output pickup, which is kind of strange, and I don't necessarily understand the science behind it, but it works. I have one of these in my Schecter Blackjack SLS that you guys have seen on this channel many times. It's a great pickup, lots of clarity. It can be wired for coil splitting capabilities, to get some great single coil sounds out of. Excellent pickup. Number 15, Dimarzio X2N. This is a ceramic magnet dual blade humbucker that for the longest time held the title for the highest output passive pickup on the planet. If you wanted as much output, for squeals and gain and all that kind of stuff into a high gain amp that you could find, this was the pickup to buy for a long time, and realistically, for a lot of people, still is. This pickup's been in production for a long time, and it's if you want flamethrower distortion, look at the X2N. Number 14, Fender noiseless pickups. Some people seem to love these pickups. Other people seem to hate them. These are unique because they're single coil pickups, sort of, but they're humbuckers, sort of. And what I mean by that is they do have two coils, but they're stacked on top of each other as opposed to side by side, like a humbucker would be. The idea behind these is to be able to get some great single coil sounds, but without the 60 cycle hum that single coil pickups obviously are known to produce. Eric Clapton has been a big fan of these pickups and has used them in his signature guitars for years. These have been very, very successful for Fender, and I believe they are actually now on their 4th generation of these. Number 13, Seymour Duncan SSL5. This is one of Seymour Duncan's single coil pickups, and anytime the Seymour Duncan puts together, they take a lot of care into pairing up their different pickup models for different types of guitars, for different purposes. And this is the single coil pickup that they seem to pair with a lot of different humbuckers. And, it's one that I happen to like personally. I love Seymour Duncan. They're my favorite pickup company. And this is not even the last entry for them on this list. But, hey, when you're the biggest pickup company around, you're going to have more than one entry. Number 12, Bare Knuckle Pickups Painkiller. This one was kind of... I wanted to put a bare knuckle pickup on here because they have become really, really popular, and I decided to go with the Painkiller because it happens to be my personal favorite. The truth is, they have several other models that could have just as easily made this list, such as the Juggernaut, the Silo, the War Pig, among many, many others. Bare knuckle pickups have been on the scene for about, probably 10 years, maybe a little more than that now, and have gained a lot of popularity. Their high output pickup seems to be what they excel at, and hard rock and metal guys in particular love these things. Number 11, the PRS Dragons, and the Dragon 2s that came out quite some time later. The Dragon pickups came out back in the 1990s and were an excellent pickup. If you read the PRS forums, the PRS fanatics all seem to agree that the Dragon 1s were better pickups for, rock and classic rock and that kind of stuff. And the Dragon 2s seem to lend themselves better to jazz and blues guitar players. Back in my store days, there was one time in particular that we were hosting a clinic put on by none other than Paul Reed Smith himself. And as a member of the management team, it was my job to host him and show him around and make sure that he had everything that he needed pretty much for the entire day. And I got to spend a fair amount of time with Paul Reed Smith that afternoon. And I can tell you, when it comes to guitars, that guy's brain does not work like everybody else's. The man is a genius, and his brain operates on a completely different level from everybody else I've ever met. But he's a great guy, and that same genius is also transferred into his pickup designs, which have won him numerous awards since he's been building guitars. Number 10, the Dimarzio deactivators. Dimarzio, of course, are another really, really big pickup company, and they're also going to have more than one entry on this list. The deactivators are among one of my favorite models from them. I almost put the Tone Zone on here, but I decided I needed to go with the deactivators because they're actually a really, really unique pickup. Not only are they're plenty high output, and so if you're looking for high output flamethrower distortion, they do that really, really well. But what's cool about these is, they're a passive pickup that are actually designed to sound like active pickups, which is where the name comes from. And if you sit down and listen to them and then compare them to a guitar with like active EMGs or something, the tone is actually really, really similar. I don't know how they did it, but they did it, and they sound great. Number 9, Gibson P90. There are a lot of diehard Gibson players that absolutely love P90s. And I've always thought that they sounded basically like a fat single coil pickup, which essentially is what they are. This is Gibson's single coil pickup. And this pickup was in pretty much all of Gibson's guitars prior to 1957 when they came out with what is now known as the Humbucker, also known in the vintage circles as the PAF. Gibson have been putting P90s in a lot of their guitars for decades now, and Gibson lovers absolutely love P90s. Oh, and by the way, the P90 has also been copied by a number of other guitar companies out there. Number 8, the TV Jones TV Classic. TV Jones are a company that make pickups that are filtertron-esque, which obviously is their primary inspiration, and this is the model that was inspired by the filtertron more than any other. A lot of people might argue that these even sound better than filtertrons. The TV Classic was so successful for TV Jones that they were able to expand out and start building some other versions of this same pickup that have also become successful for them. But the TV Classic is really their flagship model and the one that started it all for them. If you want that vintage filtertron sound, but you don't want to spend the money on an actual set of vintage filtertrons, the TV Jones TV Classic is the pickup that you buy. Number 7, Fender Texas Special. Just about everybody ought to be familiar with this pickup. This is probably Fender's most popular pickup. This is the heart of Stevie Ray Vaughan's sound. Stevie Ray Vaughan is one of the most popular guitar players of all time, and this seems to be the pickup that most Stevie Ray Vaughan players tend to gravitate towards when they're trying to nail that SRV tone. The Fender Texas Special is one of the most popular pickups on the planet. Number 6, the EMG 8185. For the longest time, this was EMG's most popular pickup set, and if you wanted active EMGs, this is pretty much what you bought. They didn't have too many other models, for the longest time, because quite frankly, they didn't need any more models. Nowadays, as the metal world has expanded and modern metal tones have evolved to what they are, EMG have since come out with several other pickups, but the 81 and 85 in particular are still used adamantly today by Zakk Wylde. Kirk Hammett uses 281s in the bridge and the neck position, and James Hetfield has also been a longtime user of the 81 and the bridge position on his guitars, among many others. I personally own about 4 guitars that all have the EMG 8185 pickup set in them, and if you like the sound of active pickups and you like the EMG sound, all 4 of those guitars sound fantastic. Number 5, Fishman Fluence Modern Pickups. Speaking of active pickups, these are the latest active pickups to hit the scene that have made a big splash. I personally have not had the chance to try them out yet, and I've heard a few people tell me that they're a little more overrated. But that said, their popularity has skyrocketed in just the last couple of years alone. Now you got guitar manufacturers that are buying them and putting them in their guitars from the factory, and those guitars are all selling like crazy. And they're doing something right to be garnering that much attention. Once I actually get a chance to try them out, if I decide that I don't like them, I'll come back and retract this. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put them on the list strictly for their popularity. Number 4, Bill Lawrence L500 XL. Don't worry, Dimebag fans, we're not leaving you out. This is the pickup that none other than Dimebag Darrell was famous for playing throughout his entire career. After he passed, Seymour Duncan was so inspired by his sound that they came out with their own version of it, though it is a little bit different, called the Humbucker. Neither one of these pickups are the fattest sounding pickup in the world, but man, do they have a ton of output. Number 3, Gibson 490R and 498T. I decided to go with this particular pickup set because of all the pickups that Gibson is currently making. This is the one that has been around and has been in production the longest. Gibson have been putting this same pickup set in both their Les Paul Studios, although I think that has changed in recent years, but they put it in their Les Paul Studios and the Les Paul Customs for years. These are a moderate output Alnico 2 humbucker set, and for some reason they seem to pair really well with big dense Gibson guitars, Les Pauls in particular. I've always liked this set quite a bit. Number 2, Dimarzio Super Distortion. When it comes to replacing pickups in your guitar with aftermarket pickups, this is the one that started it all. Back in the 70s, if you wanted to upgrade the sound of your guitar and you wanted to change the pickups, Dimarzio Super Distortion was about all that there was to choose from. Ace Frehley actually used 3 of these in his Les Paul Customs, and still continues to this day, for the most part anyway. Yeah, I know he ripped the neck pickup out of his original one to put the smoke machine in, but still, his sound was all bridge pickup and all Dimarzio Super Distortion. These are still really popular today. Guitar companies still use them in a lot of their guitars. People still buy them and buy them for replacement pickups in their guitars. The super distortion ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And oh yeah, by the way, they're also pretty good sounding pickup. And number 1, the Seymour Duncan JB model. There's not another pickup on this planet that has more versatility than the JB. I own several guitars that have the JB model in the bridge, and I will never swap those pickups out for anything else. This pickup does high gain. This pickup does clean sounds. This pickup does mid to moderate gain. It responds insanely well to a slight roll off of the volume knob. If you're playing into a slightly dirty amp like a Marshall Plexi, for example, you can roll the volume knob back on the JB and get a really, really good clean sound out of it. There is just not another pickup on the planet that will do everything that the JB will do. At least not that I've encountered. I believe Seymour Duncan originally designed this pickup for Billy Gibbons, and this pickup has been in production for a long time, and the artist list that have used this pickups on the recordings that we're all familiar with is extremely long. If you've never played a JB, you need to give one a try. Okay, so there we have it. That is my list of the top 17 greatest guitar pickups ever. Of course, these are not necessarily the greatest guitar pickups ever. These are simply my opinions of the greatest guitar pickups ever. And if you disagree with it, that's always funny to read in the comments too. So, again, comments down below. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, thank you so much for watching. Adios.